Hello friends, welcome back to the craft room. I am really glad that you're here. And a special hello to all of the new faces that have found my channel. This tutorial had a pretty good week and I'm so grateful for all of your likes and your sweet comments and your really funny comments. I did not know what a debacle I would cause with this particular A-named device here. And the cobbler. I thought that was so funny how many people commented and said, my husband thinks we're having cobbler. And how many times my A-named device set off your A-named device. That was just hilarious. So thank you for telling me all of those funny stories. I loved it so much. Before we jump into this pattern right here, let's talk about this one for just a second. I've had a couple of questions about the fabric. Like I said, I don't have this floral yet. I am working on saving up for those, so keep these orders coming and help me reach that goal. I really want to be able to order Rifle Paper Company before the end of the year. That's actually my goal. So you help me in that, and I'm so grateful for all of you that have ordered anyways, but keep it up because I really want to hit that goal, and I know that you guys can help me do it. This is a new bundle that we've just put in the shop, which is exactly what you see up here, except for we have an extra blue in there. So if you're kind of wanting this color scheme, because it is so sweet and so soft, I love it. Here is a good option for you. It is called the Riley bundle, and I love it so much. So eventually when I do get this fabric, because I will, I'm determined, then we'll add it to this bundle and we'll kind of make a little quilt kit for this one. But until that time, these fabrics will tide you over. They are gorgeous and I love them all together. You ready for a new block? This is another free pattern. There was a day where I took a deep dive down into Fat Quarter Shop's free pattern section. And let me tell you, there's a lot of patterns in there. I don't know how I came out alive. But this is the pattern that we're going to work on today. This is called the Butterscotch Quilt. I know it says Cameo up here, but that is just the name of the fabric line. So it really is the Butterscotch. I like this one because it has those cute plus signs in there. The colors they chose are pretty light, so hopefully you can see this okay. But I really like the look of this, and I really like that star around the plus. So this is made up of 2 blocks. I didn't read the instructions, full disclosure. I saw this diagram right here, and then I saw that the corner said 2.5 inches, and I thought, that's all the information I need to know. I've got this. So maybe you could do better than me and like actually read the pattern. But at the same time, yeah, who needs them? We're going to start with the star first, and then we'll move on to our easy little 9-patch here. That will take us like 2 seconds to throw together. But one thing that I did want to share right now before it got confusing is right here in this middle row, you have 3 of the same color squares being sewn together. And I know that we're going to be sewing a bunch of squares together, but I just simplified this little chunk right here. And instead of 3 squares, I'm going to do a strip. It just seems easier in my brain. So you can totally do the squares, no shame in that, but I'm just going to simplify with a strip. And I will tell you sizes and everything as we go. But I think that's it. So let's get started. First off, we're going to make some half square triangles. We're going to use the 2 at a time method. I have 4 3-inch squares of my background color and 4 3-inch squares of my star. On the back of these flowers, I have drawn a diagonal. And this is going to be our guide for those seams for this 2 at a time method. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with it, we're going to put our right sides together for both of these squares. And using that diagonal, we are going to sew a 1/4 inch to the left of that line and a 1/4 inch to the right. I'm going to turn my machine on and then I'm going to sew all those. And then we'll check back in. You ready? Got a little chain piecing going on here. I'll just show you really quickly what that looks like so you can see the seams on both sides of that diagonal. We are going to trip these apart, and then we're going to slice these bad boys in half, which seems wrong, but it is the right thing to do. Okay, I'm going to get my ruler, and I'm going to line up the edge of my ruler right with that diagonal that we have drawn. My hair is getting stuck in my chapstick and I cannot handle it today. We're gonna slice these right in half, giving us 2 half square triangles. I'm going to trim through the rest of them, but let's talk about ironing real quickly. That way I can magic through it. I'm going to pick one side, probably going to be this floral, and I'm going to iron that side up and over on every one of these half square triangles. I just think it's consistent, and if we need to nest later, then it actually is pretty nice. So I know that there's a lot of ways to do that, so to each their own, but that's what I'm going to be doing just so you have a heads up. So I'm going to cut all of these. I'm going to iron, and then we will talk about trimming. And there we have all of those half square triangles. Now I will say, as I was ironing, they just started magically trimming themselves, and I said, whoa, 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 don't trim all of them. I need at least one to show you. So we magic through the rest, but we'll work through this one together. Oh, not that one. I already did that one. Just this one. Let's get to it. We're going to use the 45-degree line in our rulers. I keep trying to think of a better way to show you this, but it is just never working out. Nope, that was worse. There's a line that goes corner to corner in this ruler, and it is a 45-degree line. We're going to use that and line it up with the angle here in our half square triangle. We want these cut down to 2.5 inches. So around the edge here, I'm going to leave a little bit over 2.5, so that way when we cut this edge and we rotate, we have a nice crisp line that we can trim the rest off. So making sure that that diagonal stays lined up, we're going to trim the right and then trim the top. And now with those nice clean edges, we are going to line them right up with 2.5 inches this time. And because we used that 45 originally, it should line up again all on its own, but just double check. And then we trim again off the right and off the top. And there we have our perfect 2.5 inch half square triangle. I think we're to the point now where we can lay this out. That was really kind of our hard work. So let's do a dry fit. I want the flowers to be my star. So we'll just scoot all of that off to the side for now. So we're gonna make star points, and then the flower goes in between. I'm not gonna talk you through this. Let's just fast forward. Ready? There, aren't you glad we just fast forwarded? It's much easier. So you'll notice here in the middle, we have a big gap. This is our 6.5 inch strip. All of these are 2.5 inch squares, and this is 6.5 by 2.5 inch strip. This is the seam allowance. So by the time we have all of these squares put together, they will be the same. Just trust me. I may be weird, but I wouldn't lead you astray. Well, not intentionally, but I'm doing my best not to lead you astray at all. The assembly for this one is pretty straightforward. It's going to take a little bit just because we have so many squares to put together, but it won't be bad. So we're just going to make these 5 blocks, 1 row, and then we'll do the same for underneath, and then continuing that all the way down until we have 5 individual rows. And then when we have that, then we're going to start sewing our rows together. It's pretty straightforward. So I feel like we can magic through the rest of this. Let's get this block done. And there we have our cute star block. That is so fun with the bold florals and then that purple background. I love that so much. So cute. I was thinking as I was working through this one that you could do strip piecing if you're feeling up for it. So we have flower, pink, flower, and the same down here, flower, pink, flower. I like my quilts a little bit scrappy. Well, a lot of it scrappy. So I don't know if this would be a good fit for me personally, but if I wanted to make this identical block over and over again, then strip piecing would consolidate this little square here in the middle if you wanted. So we've been doing a lot of strip piecing lately in all these videos. So if you're not sure how to strip piece, just check out one. It'll have it. I don't know what it's been as of late, but we've been doing a lot of strip piecing. So, but that was an idea if you wanted to do strip piecing to consolidate a little bit. Let's jump to this other block, which is a basic 9 patch here in the middle. I'm going to do an orange plus sign and have my flowers be the background this time, and I'm pretty excited. And there you have your 9 patch. We have 5 2.5 inch background squares and 4 2.5 inch color squares. We're gonna put all this together, but I think we'll just add our borders. That way my magic will look cooler. First, we're gonna add the little ones to the sides if I can get my fingers to peel this fabric apart. Phew. So these ones will go here on the side. And then we have big 10.5 inch borders for the top. So just to double check, this is 2.5 by 10.5. And this is 2.5 by 6.5. It's amazing what a seam allowance will do for these gaps. So let's put together our 9 patch first. We're gonna sew rows again, like we did in our other star. And then after that, we'll work on borders. But let's start with the 9 patch. Ta-da! There we have our cute little 9 patch. I do like to iron my seams open. You could push all your seams one direction just so that you could come and nest if you wanted those points to line up. But I also find that I can get my points pretty good too, ironing those seams open, and it just lays so flat, and I'm a big fan of that. Next, we're gonna add on these side borders. And now all we need to do is put these tops on. You ready? And there is our cute 9 patch with that border around it. So simple, but I love it so much. And speaking of strip piecing, there is a flower color flower, just like we have here. So you could actually reuse your strip piecing in this block as well. So options, friends. Here are the 2 of these together. Yeah, that's cute. I've got a lot of this flower fabric, and I really like these oranges and pinks with it. I've got this other color and a yellow, and I think I'm just gonna make a pretty scrappy version of all of these blocks because they are adorable. And you know, bright, happy colors, you can't argue with that, right? I think that's gonna be it for me today, friends. I really am gonna work hard to actually have a Thursday video. I know I said it last week, but this back to school business is no joke. Got a lot of appointments, a lot of tryouts, a lot of school pickup things, and the brain is full of stuff. So I really am going to try hard to do Thursdays. We had talked about showing the borders for the flower checks quilt. I just cannot think of a way to make that fun or interesting, so I actually already did the borders. So I'm sure Thursday will just be a reveal of this quilt along that we've been working on. And that's about the best I can offer you. I don't know how to add borders excitingly without it taking hours with the magic and transitions and stuff. And I love you all, but I don't know if I like you that much. Okay, we'll focus on Thursday on Thursday. How about that? Here's a last little peek at these ones. Again, this pattern is called Butterscotch. I will link it below. But here's kind of the end result that you're looking at here. Super cute. All right, we will see you soon, friends. Bye.